ABBA 1. Testimonials, Questions and Answers. December 6, 2018. ABBA, in the presence in the heart of each one, in the resonance of the truth. May joy, peace and truth be present in you. In that I have told you and announced for many months what is happening in each of you as well as on the screen of this world, somewhere in this world where you are, shows and demonstrates the same evidence, the evidence of lightness of heart, the evidence of beauty and the evidence of joy. You need nothing except to be yourself, beyond everything, beyond nothing. Just be positioned here and now. Where the majesty of the dance of the heart develops. Where the dazzling truth cannot be accompanied by any delusion or illusion. Truly I say to you, each of you and each of us, in the same resonance, in the same agape, is fully revealed, naturally and spontaneously putting an end to the illusion of believing that you are separate, to the illusion of believing in yourselves as individuals, where there is nothing but presence and joy, the joy of your presence, translating into the illusion of this world through the presence of joy and the joy of presence, as soon as the silence that accompanies the evidence rises within your being and gives you to live in yourself, in this ultimate beauty, in this ultimate love, where everything else is superfluous, where everything else is nothing but vanity. Then, by allowing the preeminence of the light to be in its entirety, no obstacle can arise. Whether within your story, or within your current experience, the intelligence of light and love Agape now calls you to every breath, to every look, to every thought, leading you systematically back to the heart of the present instant, where your presence merges with absence, where being and non-being dance the same dance, share the same silence, whose radiance in this world is only joy devoid of any object as of any subject. Then each is called to vibrate the dance of evidence and let the beauty transfigure all the wounds associated with this life, in this world, as with any life that has been lived in this world. Within this celebration, the brightness of your consciousness, exploiting one ultimate joy, one ultimate dance, revealing the joy, the beauty of truth and the beauty of the celebration in the heart of the human being, of being and non-being, performing in each and every one the miracle of the three-in-one. Thus, the new Eucharist unfolds, at the disposition of all, leading them in a dazzling or more extensive way to the same truth, where it can undoubtedly be maintained, where everything is light, where everything is beautiful. And this develops in this moment, in you who hears and, in you who hears, the call of life, the call of joy. The earth is liberated, the earth is ascending. And many, no matter the circumstances, no matter what they think, can only inevitably let them back to themselves, where there is no form, where there is no world, in the eternal bliss, where nothing can be lacking and where they are not dependent on anything, nor on a frame, nor on a limit. There is a true freedom that shines through this body of flesh, illuminating by resonance and attraction each sister and each brother, from the moment you are neither yourselves nor the other, but you are both at the same time. From one to the other, from one to the other, performing the miracle of one thing only, the truth of Agape, the truth of joy, which is not conditioned by any circumstance, for any reason. It is in this that the great silence, that the great evidence, is installed forever, forever, permanently, where time no longer passes, where space no longer means anything, where the innumerable abodes of the Father are finally resolved, putting an end to fragmentation, to the illusion of creation, to the illusion of suffering, so that only love and joy remain, without the need for support, without the need for a frame, without the need for any limit. Because love can never be limited, nor framed by any authority, nor by any living environment, within the planetary spheres. Each circumstance of your life inevitably leads you to the encounter of the ephemeral and the eternal. The eternal that leads you to the union of the self and the non-being. And this is true in every breath, in every look, in every welcome, without thinking, without conditioning, without repentance. Thus, for many of us, more and more numerous, in each ABBA, there is this truth that illuminates more and more the illusions of your world, as well as the illusions of your life, freeing you with its intelligence from all limits and all bonds. This is lightness. This is simplicity. This is true humanity, in its true simplicity. So beloved Abbas, now it is your turn to enter into resonance between each ABBA. And so, what you have to say, what you have to express, can only make each ABBA resonate, in essence, in the ultimate. So, beloved, we will resonate through what you have to say, what we have to share, resonate and exchange. Silence. So, from the moment that the voice of an ABBA rises before you, I can only invite you, from the moment that you are, from the moment that you listen, to listen to the dance of your heart and to welcome joy. For the words that will be spoken will be more than words. Because, from the moment ABBA welcomes, there can only be fullness, there can only be beauty. That is why I invite all those who want to speak, whatever they have to say, to tell us, so that we can welcome in our silence these words and beyond the words, what the word carries, as close as possible to your eternity. So beloved ones, I invite you to come and express what is present in you at this moment, through my words and your presence. So, beloved ones, you may begin to ask. Who wants to come and express themselves? Do not keep anything to yourself, if it is your present feeling, if it is what you have already experienced. Whatever is manifested in this moment before you, emotion, thought, questioning, testimony, is useful, not for you, but for the resonance of the light. Beloveds, I invite you to come and express yourselves. You may come with us. We have a person on the move. Participant. Beloved, with all your respect, who created the rules of this world? Beloveds, the rule of this world can be summed up in one thing: duality. Good and bad. Creation itself, wherever it is, in any dimension, in any experience, as in any form or dimension, simply makes it possible to live the experience of form and of the world, wherever it is. Thus, in this world there is only one rule that has long prevailed, which can be summed up in the illusion of the struggle between light and shadow. But never forget that the light of this world has been deflected, and has locked the light within itself, giving you the illusion of being separate and having to struggle to reclaim what has always been there. The rules in this world, as you know, and called the dissociated third dimension, have cut you off from the connection and resonance with who you really are. There is no other rule that has been distorted in this world. It is no longer necessary to attribute any responsibility, or attribute any guilt, to anyone, or anything. Love, agape, is neither good nor bad. And whatever you think, whatever you agree and accept, whatever your resistance, it is only the temporary games that led you to the end of the game, as well as to the end of the eye. The ephemeral eye that accompanies you in this way will never know agape love, because you cannot know what you really are. You can only be it, and you cannot seek it. Because it is already there, within you, in what was called the heart of the heart, where being and non-being meet in the same dance, through your humanity, through this body. This is how the resonance of the heart puts an end to the notion of relationship. Because there is no distance, no partitions, no identity. This cannot be proven. This cannot be believed. This can only be lived. There are no preconditions, except those that you have established unconsciously, and sometimes also consciously, representing ultimately only the fear of agape, being that agape puts an end to all fear. Silence. So there are no more rules, not even in this world. There is simply what was called, a long time ago, in what was called Poseidon, the beloved heart of the source, and what was then called the law of the one, which affected all the children present on the surface of this world despite being locked up. The law of the one does not correspond in any way to the laws, as they are called on the human level. The law of the one needs no framework, no rule, no text, no control. Because the law of the one is the truth and the beauty that you live, every day more numerous, every day with more intensity, taking away from you the idea of being a person, the idea of being history, the idea of being a person, the idea of being a person. In the law of the one, everything is perfection. Everything has always been fulfilled. Rules are useless, except to deprive you, to amputate you, of true freedom, and of the one, indivisible. Silence. Beloveds, we can accept other words. Participant. In this moment of freedom we have, we must renounce our weapons. Who decides to surrender the weapons? He is never your person. Because in view of the light that is there, you can only recognize yourself. And you cannot decide anything for yourself except to erase yourself from any claim, going through what you think you are as a person and as history. For this, the light commands you, giving you every day, in every circumstance, at every glance, commands you to be that. Therefore, it is a form of capitulation of any claim, of any place in society. To be free is not to depend on any world, whatever the presence of a world, to free oneself from all density and return to the heart of oneself. In short, I can say that the intelligence of light is spontaneous. It certainly does not need you, except to disappear, to leave that present instant, void of everything, thus leaving all the space to who it has been, who it is and who it will be. It is the intelligence of the light that, through welcoming, makes the attachment to what is happening disappear by itself. Let it be your body. Let this be your life. Let this be your future. For within the truth, within Agape, there can be no assumption of any kind of becoming. The grace of Agape separates you from any sense of belonging to any creation, and undresses you, before yourself, as you have always been, beyond the form you think you are, and beyond a future you can see or think of. Truth is only in the instant. Truth does not know time. Truth knows no evolution. Truth has no future, because there is no future within truth, just as there is no past. You're the Alpha and the Omega. You're the way, the truth and the life, putting an end to the farce of believing that you are your life. This is done, therefore, also here, in a manner totally independent of what it values, as a goal or as an objective. And it is in this reception where the unknown is made known. And it is in this that you recognize yourself. Today, you no longer need support. Light is what they are. In the contacts that will be refined, with the peoples of nature, with the human brothers and sisters, with the subtle dimensions, as in any relationship that becomes resonance and evidence, only the truth remains. Only Agape remains. In that, you are complete. In that, you are whole. In that, you are sincere. You have been guided and led either by our voices or by your experiences in this world which, whatever its aspect, terrifying or wonderful, leads to only one thing: truth and liberty, whatever the future of your body, whatever your history and whatever your hopes may be. So, when the time comes for each one of you, the mandate of light ignores all the circumstances of your lives, because it is precisely life that ends your belief in your life. And that from the moment the oath and the promise were lived out in its entirety, through beatitude and ecstasy, you cannot afford to be abused or deceived by the experiences you are living, here as elsewhere, that in fact only intend to put an end to the experiences so that there are no more oscillations or fluctuations between what you believe you're and what is beyond any belief or history of this world, as in any story related to creation and related to experience. In that moment you fully merge the self and the non-being, by being in your humanity. That is the only truth. Today, everything else traps you into the best circumstance to live this. What is to be experienced, in the circumstances of your life, serves only one purpose, and that purpose is within you. It is simply to find oneself, beyond form, as well as beyond worlds. You're already living it. It has been called resurrection and sacrifice. From the moment the oath and the promise are somehow revealed and recorded in you, there can no longer be any choice or uncertainty about who you are, thus ending history, putting an end to all separation, putting an irremediable end to what is happening, like your life, inscribed in what you call birth and death. The death of illusion, no matter what it costs, is nothing compared to the radiance of lived love, compared to what is now lived and within reach of every one heart, without any possible distinction. Whatever its location in all its aspects in this world, they are only the most appropriate conditions to enable it to find itself in who you are. Remember, there is nothing you can do about it, you cannot change what was written, and long before that, in the first creation. You are not here in a personal development, nor in a transpersonal development, but simply in the evidence of agape, of joy. This is the oath and the promise, because from the moment you realize it in your flesh, in your consciousness, everything is dissolved, everything is fulfilled. You have no effort to make, you have nothing to renounce, in a strict sense, you just have to accept to live it, without asking for it, nor wanting it, without meditating and without praying, but simply and really being there. Without wondering what it means to be there, but simply to achieve it. For to achieve this is to reveal oneself, beyond any frame, beyond any rule, beyond any body, beyond any world. Perfection is our nature. Abundance is our truth, seemingly contradictory and opposed to the experience of this world. There is no other solution today than to be yourselves in the truth, thus transcending all suffering and resistance. Where there can be no question, because everything is an answer, and the only answer is joy. For joy consumes, both in you and at the other end of the earth, as well as at the other end of the universe is, the illusion of creation. This, remember, does not need preconditions, does not need rules, does not need anything more than what was called sacrifice. The more you renounce the claims of your person, the obligations of this world, the obligations of this society, and I would even say that the obligations desired by your body, no longer represent any weight against the joy of agape lived, putting an end to any dilemma or any question. They are there for the answer and will be increasingly the answer to any confusion, to any joy, even if it is just passing through. And it's simple. Because it is a question of childhood and humility, where there can be no right to the assignment of roles or functions, not even at the level of what is called subtlety or spirituality. As long as there is identification, whether with this body and this world, as with any body of eternity or with any world, even free, it formally leads you to be this freedom, this joy that transcends and ends, consumed through the fire of love that ends with the world and liberates joy. That is now. Remember that the more days and hours that happen, the less you will have to understand, the fewer questions you will have and the more you will penetrate into the evidence. Because by living it, for your humanity, you are no longer deceived, you can no longer believe in anything in this world, or any other. They are really and concretely naked, and it is this nakedness, which is the exaltation of love, the revelation of love and the manifestation of love. Everything else only fills them up and slows them down in the unfolding of truth. But as soon as you surrender the weapons to the need for identity, the need for role, the need to assume what seems inevitable to you in this world, then the intelligence of the light is revealed. You will no longer be able, as has been said, to compromise or negotiate between your character and the light. The more you are light, naturally and spontaneously, the more you can notice and see that everything else does not exist and has just happened. Just to be clear. So, you're real. Silence. Beloveds, let's continue. Are there any other questions? Or testimonials? Noise. And we heard a decisive step. Laughs. Participant. At the moment of receiving, being in complete peace, in the void, in the black light, disappearing from this body and from this world, a change took place in my body and I returned to my body and to this world. Was there a before and an after? Beyond experience itself. Something has changed internally, but it is not possible to put words to it. The result is far more important than the words that would allow you to appreciate this change. But this something that has changed will lead you, by all possible means, to install this change. Just remember that you have nothing more to do than to live and go through without stopping what the intelligence of the light makes you go through. You do not go through it alone. Because, precisely, it is enough to be immobile, in that silence, for the crossing to take place. As you accept, This time in the circumstances of your days, whatever they may be, everything that is presented to you, through trust in those who are, even if it has not appeared completely, will unfold and amplify the process with increasing lightness and ease. They will also notice, over the course of their days, that if the person wants to control or direct, it will seem to them that they are moving away realistically and concretely from themselves. Then there will appear a feeling of distance which cannot be tolerated and which will naturally place you in the truth of your humanity, living simultaneously the self and the non-being. From that moment on, as has already been said, everything is effectively achieved. All you have to do is let time unfold in this world, for each day you will see more and more clearly, not about yourself, but more and more clearly about who you are, putting an end to the illusion and absorbing all the dream of creation. Even what many experience today, whether in the intimate resonances of sister to brother and brother to sister, as well as in the resonances with the subtle, of this world or with other places, makes no difference. This is how Majesty takes the whole place, leaving, as I said, no doubt about who you are, compared to what you thought you were. Then, in this way, the fullness of Agape will naturally consume all that may remain of suffering, relief and wounds, related to your life, and freeing your life from all that are concepts, all that are wounds, and all that are visions, allowing you to see clearly through them, but also showing you, in an increasingly sensitive and sure way, that you are prior to all this, and that what you are, despite appearances and all that you live, in fact, has always been there. And that only the habits and archetypes called spiritual, deviant, prevented you from seeing this. In freedom, there are no habits, no rules, no time, because it is not society and its limitations, nor your person, as someone else, can change a part of what you live. What you are experiencing, I remind you, is not your life from now on, but life. This is the only freedom and truth. Because this will never happen, and because it has always been there. Before birth and death, before, within the planes of consciousness. Thus is the end of the dream of creation, for each of us, as for the unified whole of all human beings, with all consciousnesses, which are only fragments of yourselves, in what you might call another time and another space. The Agape puts an end to any notion of attachment, to any notion of rules. It is in this way that the times we live in today led you to become aware, wherever you are in this world, that everything in this world is nothing more than an altered and inverted reflection of what they are, the truth and life. Another question? Laughs. Translator: yes, there is another question that comes up. The question is, at the time of the event, will the teachers who accompany us be with us? Because I had a dream where I met Jean-Luc and IDADE and I changed my clothes to be able to enter the light. This is called washing the clothes with the blood of the Lamb. This corresponds point by point to what had been declared and transcribed in John's revelation. So, of course, more and more of you are resonating, whether with Vegalians, for some, or with the entire intergalactic confederation of free worlds, because, of course, what you call masters, are in fact only your servants. For true master is abandonment and true master is nothing more than disappearing from oneself to see oneself in the other. So, yes, the masters are there, the whole intergalactic confederation is as close as possible to Earth, as to your consciousness. They are not there to save you, they are there for nothing more than to reveal themselves in you. There is no longer distance, there is no longer division, countless are those who have experienced the collective event beforehand. As I speak to you, this is affecting the entire human collective as well as all of creation. And each of them is all of that. In its entirety. Anything you think about it today, anything you doubt or don't live, will be lived. And everyone will prove it. It cannot be otherwise. So don't ask yourself the question, even if for many of you, you're in resonance and in contact with all the events of the invisible. This is true, but it only has one function, which is to allow you to absorb the essence of creation. Everything is done naturally. And many, in fact, perceive in a more specific way, in their inner journeys within the truth, my presence, and especially that of IDADE. Today, the archetypes, having been eliminated and eradicated from the earth, begin for some of you to live what was called, in St. John, the celestial Jerusalem. And there are many of you, meeting ABBA and IDADE, as well as OURO or Mary. But it doesn't matter, because now you are entering what was once called Heavenly Jerusalem, which is the culmination and restitution of Metatron in you. Each is the source. Each one is the bearer of all creation, leading them to discover, as I said, what may have always been there. There is neither you, nor teacher, there is neither one, nor the other, nor teacher, nor pupil. Nothing needs to be saved, because you were born free, before birth in a form. The entire intergalactic confederation of the free worlds is manifesting itself in an increasingly sensitive way in your heaven as well as within you. And today, you are no longer welcomed by ABBA, IDADE or anyone else, but by yourselves. And this can be seen and perceived in what was called the Heavenly Jerusalem. For the Heavenly Jerusalem corresponds, as I have just said, to Metatron, the first emanation of the Source, which each of us is, of course. So is the intelligence of light. You have nothing to worry about except to let this joy and love radiate and expand naturally, from its presence and absence, into the heart of the human heart. All those who have seen and lived it know very well that it is the truth and that everything else is just wind, a dream or a nightmare. Translator, are there any other questions or testimony? Question. I feel a great privilege to be able to experience this event, since we are accompanied by all the representation of the Intergalactic Confederation, so now I ask myself why this place and why we were chosen to live this event. Beloved ones, there is no why or how, there is only the intelligence of the light at work. There is no justification, no explanation, there is only what is. Everything else does not depend on a personal decision, or mine, or yours, or anyone else. This is the intelligence of the light. There was no intention at first, except for the spontaneity that was created and allowed this to happen. But I remind you that this event is lived in the same way, either here or everywhere. I repeat to you that more and more of you are coming to join ABBA, in the heart of Heavenly Jerusalem. And in this, it is you, every one of you, who do the honor, and whom I honor, with his presence. For as soon as the Heavenly Jerusalem, whatever vision you have of it, there is only one reality, beyond the stage, it is simply to come and resound in spirit and in truth, in the heart of ABBA, which is none other than your heart of heart. This indicates, therefore, the proximity of collective freedom and the collective agape. What you are living, in truth, is not happening. Because it is beyond time and space, even if it seems to you and you consider that it takes place in a certain sequence. It doesn't matter. If you live it, it's already there, and it's always been there. But let the intelligence of the light, through your abandonment and acceptance, allow it. From the moment you truly see the consciousness of what is, you go through all planes, all visions, as well as all worlds, without seeing them, but what you really are, you recognize instantly, putting an end to all doubt, putting an end to all searching, putting an end to all searching for dates, to all apprehension about any future. Love truly liberates you, that love which you do not know, but which you can only be, which is our essence and our nature. A few months ago, I declared that we were closing the book of creation. Now it remains to be seen that there has never been a book, and to live it, thus completing freedom, where nothing can be lacking. And in this, you're really complete and fully true. Everything else is just passing through. So don't try to assign any heart a role of teacher, a role of parent, or any other role. Because the only truth I can say about that is that you are ABBA. ABBA is not a form. ABBA accompanied creation, but never created it. He has accompanied her, as you have accompanied her, to this point of evidence, today on earth, where the dream of creation ends, in a great burst of laughter. A laughter that is not a mockery, but a spontaneous laughter of the one who finally finds himself in the fullness, beyond any form, of any evolution and I would even say of any transcendence. for true transcendence is in the heart of humanity and all the intergalactic confederation, like all consciousnesses before you, on the subtle level, are finally there only to celebrate with you the end of the dream of creation, which, in fact, has never begun, has never been created, and has never been unbelievable. It was a dream that certainly ended on earth, in the form of suffering and nightmare, and that in the end has only one result: bliss, on which you no longer depend on anything. And it is now. So of course, as you see on the screen of this world, the progression of light consumes all that was hidden, revealing it. This was called the apocalypse, which has just ended and is now called the apotheosis. You're the apotheosis. Everything else will vanish, in fact, like a dream that vanishes when you wake up, in this world, every morning. It is in this sense that you can only laugh and smile, forgetting that who you are has always been there, despite appearances and suffering. Participant, so it is a great joy. Silence. Eliza, maybe I can testify something. In spite of the character that manifests itself in each moment, the character that I am not, I have a deep feeling of joy in knowing that the end of what I am not. Do I translate at the same time? Translator. Yes. From the character I'm not, I have this profound joy that I feel when I know that the story will finally end, and that produces a great inner joy, knowing or feeling that all this will end, one way or another. I don't know how to express it. Beloved. But it's like a projection that we're going towards liberation, anyway, and that produces a joy that isn't contradictory with the fact that there is no rejection to live it. Especially not. At the same time, it is like a way out to know that nothing is, that the nightmare will end. What? I don't know how else to express it. Well, beloved, it is very difficult to express this experience. But on the other hand, you really live. And you can only see that. As it is inserted into this body, what I will call from now on, and I think you agree with me, this body of suffering, joy is there. And you join me in saying that no matter what your life tells you, your body, the one who has seen the truth and lived it, even through a serious event, puts you in joy. It is precisely in this that you have the proof that this joy is independent of this world and the circumstances of this world, and that from the moment you are free, you do not see destruction, it is the ego that sees destruction. In truth, only the restoration of truth is seen. And in fact, it can only, as you say, make this joy grow. As the elders have always said, through the voice of the commander or others, love can occupy your space, whatever the circumstances of this world and of your body. And that is what you are going through. But it must be balanced by the fact that those who do not live it, at first, cannot accept what is said, or even imagine it. But it can resonate, at the level of the heart, in what it says. And that's what works, not by the positioning of the person listening to you and not by what they experience. Just listening to you creates resonance and establishes freedom. Because when you testify, you only express the truth, from the heart, whatever your words are, whatever your visions are, it doesn't matter. The important thing is the resonance that is created in the other, because for the one who has lived the truth and lives, it is obvious that the other is the same, that the other is not more than the same. And that is enough to put an end to the illusion. Even if it is not perceived in the moment, it will happen in the next instant. And that's how you live the good news. Of course, the consciousness will never accept that creation is a dream, that everything is perfect even before creation. There is no rejection or guilt to feel about it. For whatever you are experiencing right now, passes through you, and penetrates you, and makes your heart resonate. And that's enough. Everything else is adornment, landscape, even heavenly Jerusalem. But the resonance of the heart, lived until now among us humans, but also with the invisible, the subtle worlds, is now also lived in spirit and in truth. In what we have called the heart of the heart, the encounter between being and non-being. Realized on earth and lived on earth, one lives almost simultaneously in what we call heaven. So that in the same way and synchronously, as far as possible, what has been linked to heaven and earth can be unleashed at the same time, in heaven and on earth, to perform the miracle of one thing. Heaven married earth, earth married heaven. You're in the heart of heavenly Jerusalem, I would say, in the heart of heaven, thus rediscovering who you are, both on earth and in heaven. So that there is no more distance between heaven and earth. For in the end and in truth, there is neither heaven nor earth. There is only truth. Agape. Silence. Everything else that happens, on earth and in heaven, is the same. This is what you have been experiencing for a short time, and it is meant to never stop. That is how I said it. It is inexorable. No one, no consciousness, of heaven or earth, can oppose the end of the dream. For even opposition to this ultimate truth can only establish and reveal it. Everything else, suffering, the worlds, are just dreams, which put an end to the dream. Again, at no time can you believe that. But you can live it, and so you no longer have to believe, you live it. In this resurrection and this freedom, in the event as in the end of the dream, only that which is prior to the projection of consciousness remains. The naked truth. Where there is only beatitude and where you have absolute certainty, from the moment it is revealed, that there can be no other truth. So, yes, the more events on the surface of this world, on the surface of your life, they will be illuminated, the more chaos will grow. In return, joy will also become more and more present. And it is precisely the superimposition of the screen of this world, in its simulacrum, as in the screen of creation, that confronts the sacred and, I would say, the sacred of truth. That is now. And from the moment you experience this, you don't even look for the date of any event, because you know that what you are experiencing, this event of total revelation, for you, concerns everyone. Your only use in this character is simply to resonate the truth, through your words, your silences, your presence and your absence. But also, in his simplest humanity, to demonstrate the truth of Agape. Everything else will seem really useless to you, and henceforth futile. The play on words is not easy to translate into Spanish, because it does not rhyme in the same way. But what matters is not the word or the understanding, but what you are going through right now. And I invite you, to, if we still have time, to simply say a word or a phrase, simply, as you are right now, what your condition is. You don't need a speech, just a phrase. So I ask everyone to just say one sentence. Don't limit yourself. It can be I'm in joy. I can't feel anything. It doesn't matter. Remember, what you are going to express, whether you agree or not, doesn't change anything, because it will allow this discovery, both in you and in each brother, here as anywhere else. So I invite you, during these few minutes, to those who desire it, to express a phrase that is not meant to be a testimony or an interrogation, but simply to tell one another, at this moment, what is happening in you. Then we begin with our left. Participant. I feel an immense joy that cannot be described. Thank you very much. You see, a simple phrase is enough. Let's continue. Participant. I accompany this event with much joy. We can go ahead, continue. Participant. I feel a peace within me that sometimes fluctuates, and at the same time, I feel a great thirst for love. I thank you. Let us continue. Participant. The self or non-self is in peace, but the body is in motion, especially the heart and head. The consummation of love. Let us continue. Participant. Love and peace are with me, but my heart is worried. I realize that I am nothing, that I am everything. And I feel united to the whole group. I disappear and feel united to all of them. Thank you. Don't worry, the heart will burn more and more as you speak. I remind you that after that you will have time to rest. Translator. And so do I. Laughs. Who wants to keep expressing themselves? Participant. Although I have sometimes been able to experience what it is like to disintegrate and disappear, there is a part of me that remains concerned. Preoccupation also nourishes the light. Preoccupation is only the person's preoccupation. And through everything you express, you see the superimposition of what can remain of the person and that peace that cannot be compared to any other peace. And it is this peace that will put an end to the concern for itself. Let us continue. Participant: I feel a very big peace and I don't have anything to say, because I really feel that everything is in peace. Thank you. Participant: my being is in love and understands a lot, but there is a great concern. But this is the character. Let's continue. The same participant: the concern of the person is related to a question I would like to ask Jean-Luc, but I don't know how to express it. Beloveds, it will be in another space, in another time, not now. Participant: I feel calm and relaxed most of the time, and when I worry, the truth is that it goes fast, because I have great confidence, with a lot of joy, in everything that is going to happen. Participant: I feel gratitude, a lot of gratitude, for everything we are receiving. It had been a long time, a few months, since the mind, the character, did not allow me to receive the light that I had already lived at another time. I was like an annoying child who constantly asks. I felt this duality all the time. And today, finally, it has calmed down. Silence. Beloveds, have we turned around those who wanted to express themselves, or are there still some? Translator: we have more people. Participant: I felt a fragrance bath all afternoon and I don't know what it is. It's the scent of your essence. These are the subtle scents of each person's essence. There is a process that began a few months ago, which consisted of realizing that we were each other, through a mechanism that we had called the absorption or reception of each other's essence. And of course, this essence is sometimes accompanied by a perfume. This perfume can hardly be defined, but it seems to you to be an incomparable perfume. You could call it a form of rose, jasmine, lily, whatever. Sometimes the essence has more spicy aspects. But what you express is nothing more than what has been called, in many texts, clarity. They have become and are becoming clear. I remind you that clarity is part of the states of being that have touched the sublime. Feeling the essence is the ultimate of what our Eastern brothers called the city or powers of the soul. Because you are here beyond the visions, you are beyond the difference between you and another perception of presence, and you really become, in that moment, you are neither you, nor the other, but you are the resonance between you and the other. It is neither you nor the other. And this is manifested, can even be manifested, through a perfume. Silence. Let's keep going. Participant: I don't care about the event, I feel like I will live it when it happens. But what I really want is to continue as I am, discovering a little more of the truth in me every day, discovering a little more of love in me every day, which means that I want to continue here without having anything. IDADE, helping the translator. That's what makes me, let's say, want to stay here longer and not be in a hurry for the event to arrive. Participant: continued, because it makes me a little happier every day. The event has already been experienced in this case. And I can assure you that whatever the collective event, of whatever nature, will not change anything about who they are and what they experience within themselves. Simply and naturally you will notice that the dream is erased by the grace of white paradise and by the grace of the source of light. Translator: from the source of light. Of light. Laughs. Translator: from the source of light, right? Laughs. IDADE, laughs. You can play the drums. The translator no longer speaks Spanish. And I understand Spanish. Laughs. Translator: everything is fine. Laughs. Participant: I try to understand, I think I understand, but I would like to feel it more inside me, to feel this joy, this love. The simple fact of having expressed it, and it is doing so by resonance, at this moment. You will be able to tell us in a few moments or on the following day what happens then. Remember, the tension towards this stranger, whether with hope or despair, changes nothing, but it is the orientation of your consciousness that creates resonance and opens you to who you are. And it is being done right now, for you. You can intervene later to tell us what happened. Translator: she thanks you. Participant: I, on the one hand, feel like a dissolution and a sea of happiness and peace, but at the same time there is a concern that interrupts this process. This face-to-face is essential to show you that anxiety cannot be maintained in the face of love. It is impossible, and it is a matter of hours or even days, but that is all. We'll talk tomorrow. Participant: I feel at peace and completely present. Thank you. Translator: thank you. Or I say thank you and you say thank you. Laughs. Life is a big burst of laughter. Laughs. Participant: I have been feeling this joy for a while, but for no reason. For me, it's wonderful because I've never been a very happy person. And in general I try very hard to make others happy. The testimony, in Spanish, continues for more than 100 seconds and leads to a laugh, initiated by Eliza. Well beloved, I think it's an Italian phrase. Laughs. And so it lasts longer than a French phrase. Laughs. I didn't understand anything, but it was enough to make you laugh. Translator: I will try to summarize. Try it. Laughs. Translator: so, in fact, I wanted to feel, by coming here, the essence of what it was. And during today's experience, she had this vision where she saw, let's say, beings of light, spoke of the Holy Spirit, of an opening, of Jesus, and I got lost. Laughs. So it was an Italian phrase. Laughs. Eliza laughs. There were also candles, light. Translator: there was a lot of light, a lot of candles, a lot of emotion. Laughs. I think in Italian it's called the comedy of art. Laughs. But that's the truth. Translator: she says that everything she felt was real to her. But we agree. That's exactly why we laughed about it. Translator: and she also saw this body, as if it were being discarded, like ashes falling apart, but it felt pretty good. No, she didn't feel, she wasn't afraid either. That's right, that was the word. The testimony, still in Spanish, continues. Translator: now I allow myself to tell this whole story, because at first I didn't want to say it, but that's what I was saying. Elise: you didn't know if it was a dream? Translator: okay. Laughs. It's called dying of laughter. Laughs. Translator: you agree? That's it, that's it, that's exactly what she felt. It couldn't be more true. Translator: other people. Participant: thank you very much for this meeting, this welcome, all of you and ABBA. Is it time for recess? No, we have 2 more people. Let's get out of here. Translator: 3 people. Aren't they Italians? No. Laughs. Come on, into Spanish. Laughter and more. Translator: so I didn't understand anything. Laughs. Participant: he's from another planet. They have already fallen. Laughs. Isabel: I feel a total resonance with every heart that expresses itself, and every time it expresses itself, I have the impression that it makes my heart grow even more. It's not an impression, it's pure truth. Isabel: and often, I have tears flowing in my heart, tears of love. And sometimes they are tears on the outside. And sometimes it's the burst of laughter. Silence. Laughs. Translator, do you want to express yourself? We miss her. Translator, no, she doesn't want to. And the translator. Translator, ah. Woof. And Eliza. Eliza, she's having a lot of fun. Thank you. Laughs. Eliza, and I'm happy, and I feel so much love and joy. It's very funny. And it is very beautiful. Let's call it the ABBA show. Laughs. ABBA's comedy. What about Marshall? Translator, and I have no idea where I am. Laughs. Translator, I'm here, I'm there, I'm not here, I'm somewhere else, I'm everywhere. That's it. Participant, in Spanish now. Laughs. It's perfect. Laughs. Now, ABBA will tell you in a few moments. May peace, joy and love be your perpetual truth. See you in a few minutes. Eliza, anyway, we save electricity because it's hot here. Laughs. Through Jean-Luc Young. The Transformations. French transcript, Agape team. English translation, DeepL.com. Home revised, LMF.